HEINOUS! So welcome back to February Friday. For this case, we are going back over to England. Specifically, we are going to the city of Sheffield. This case I did not even know even existed, had not been for, of course, True Red Crime. So shout out to him. Got the most information from him. I think I really got more information from my other source. But everything else, of course, shout out to Cameron, who is in charge of the True Red Crime channel. So with that being said, I feel this case should be talked about because considering our sentence and the lengths of abuse that our victim went through before she died. And so you'll kind of see where a lot of people feel that our killer definitely should have got a longer sentence, including myself. And so with that being said, I'm going to quit my rambling. Sources, I guess, down below as always. And so with that being said, I'll quit my rambling and let's get started. So Sabrina apparently was born in 1986. Her parents, of course, get divorced, but the mom remarries. Her sister, I assume older sister, disappears for like 6 months, and then apparently she comes back pregnant. And then apparently she's going to go stay with a boyfriend, who we assume is the father of the kid, but you never know. So apparently, Sabrina would actually get pregnant while she's a teenager. However, her and the father of the baby apparently are both teenagers, so they qualify for housing because obviously you're underage, so you got to stay somewhere. However, the boyfriend would apparently move out after 3 months. So then I guess she needed a place to stay. So then she starts working at a pub, even though again she's a teenager, and she starts dating the landlord Robert Hirst, who apparently was married, had 3 daughters and a stepdaughter. So, of course, they start seeing each other, and apparently he left the family, and they started living together in December of 2004. So, in early 2005, apparently the two of them move out of town to go start their own bar. So then Sabrina finds out she's pregnant this time with Robert's kid. Robert disappears soon after. She apparently is still working at the bar because I have a kid to take care of. I can't just, go do what I want to go do now. However, she'll go work long hours and then just leave Tiffany with a bag of crisps, which essentially over here in America, that's Lay's, essentially. So basically like a bag of Lay's to eat while I go work these long hours. So in July 2006, the day apparently returned to Sheffield, Sabrina apparently would give birth to Robert's kid and apparently had came home from the hospital without sleep suits. So I guess that's important over there for after you have a baby. And so then I guess Robert had offered to go out and get some since you just gave birth. And he disappeared for like 7 hours. And then apparently there was a truck that was supposed to come in for products for the pub, and so she had to help with these products 16 hours after she just gave birth. Apparently there was a midwife who was asking about Tiffany. She reported her concerns, but apparently heard nothing. She went to the pub where she knew that Robert and Sabrina and all them were working, and Robert apparently was working alone, and he would tell them that Sabrina and the kids were out. So then she, of course, goes back to the house and waits for Sabrina to come back. And then Sabrina lets her in, and apparently she sees the baby strapped to a chair while, of course, being cold and naked. And, of course, that's the baby that she just gave birth to. Where the hell is Tiffany? As you're wondering, as was I. So, of course, there's no sign of Tiffany. And then, apparently, the midwife just basically, gets on her and says, no, don't leave the baby like that ever again. Doesn't report to anybody, just says don't leave the baby naked and cold like that ever again. And then, apparently, whenever she would go out, she'd just leave the kids, just cold and naked in the house to cut back on laundry, apparently. Those are her words. And so apparently another, person that's supposed to check on the family would not come for another 2 weeks. And this time when they came, Sabrina wouldn't even let them in. And then nothing said about that after that. A aunt would come over and apparently would redecorate Tiffany's room and the kitchen. Tiffany apparently is put into a private nursery. Robert was still missing for days at a time. However, somehow, even that, they would get married in December. So Tiffany wasn't in some sort of daycare, and then at this point she's not going back to the nursery, and apparently had left a bill unpaid for 6 weeks, because obviously daycare is not free, you got to pay for that shit, and there's 6 weeks worth of daycare that had not been paid for at the time. And then apparently Sabrina, I guess a gut feeling, she goes through Robert's phone and she finds out that he never really stopped talking to the first family. It was essentially living a double life. So all those times that he's disappearing for days at a time, he's going back to the first family. And so it said that July 25th, 2007, apparently was the last sighting that confirmed, I guess, seeing both kids about social services. The social services employee, I guess, that went to the bar, and because they were denied access to the apartment, which should have been an immediate red flag, and they went to the bar because they knew they worked at this bar and did not see Tiffany. And so Tiffany at this time, apparently she's staying with Sabrina's mom, Bridget. And Tiffany apparently was throwing up repeatedly and did not take her to the hospital, tried to care for her anyway because Bridget, quote, apparently felt that was a job for the mother, Sabrina, to take care of, not her. even though you're a mother also, because you brought this bitch Sabrina to the world. So on September 26th, a worker would call Sabrina and she would tell them that, she's not home. And then apparently the next day, I guess I want to say she like audio recorded or didn't say how, but apparently Sabrina was caught saying that I got to wake my daughter up, the daughter being Tiffany, we assume, and that I have not seen her in a week. So it said that around 9 p.m., she went upstairs and came back down 10 minutes later. She went back up with Robert, where she stayed up there till 10:30. It is believed that they were straightening up Tiffany's room and putting clothes on her, because like I said, these kids were not dressed, so that they come back on laundry. That's a quote that Sabrina came up with. And after the last customer left around midnight, so I guess their bar closed at midnight, then they called 999, which remember this is England, so that's basically 911 over there. So they find lilac flakes in Tiffany's hand, and it's believed that apparently she was eating the wallpaper because she did not have access to food. So not only were they keeping this child naked, they also were not feeding her. And so then apparently, they obviously take away the 1-year-old. Both are somehow released on October 7th. Sabrina gives birth October 7th. The baby's taken away on the 17th. And then both of them are arrested again and charged with murder that same day. So when Tiffany finally does have her funeral, apparently they allow Sabrina to be there, but you have to wear handcuffs because obviously we'll need you trying to escape. And then after that, it said that she eventually gets sentenced to 12 years on manslaughter charges. However, she's released after 6 years. And Robert is sentenced to only 5 years. So they both are out now, unless they done some other shit. So yeah, you see why the outrage regarding this case, regarding because what other case where a child had to resort to eating wallpaper because they literally were not allowed to eat food, and considering the depths of abuse that these kids went through. And so yeah, with that being said, if you knew Sabrina or know what the hell she's doing right now, and even Robert, because they're both out right now, I guess let me know. I can only imagine how his daughters feel about this. The daughters from the first family and the wife and the now former stepdaughter. And so with that being said, let me know what you think about this case, because there definitely was a lot to cover. So yeah, shout out to Cam for introducing the case, I guess, to me and all of his subscribers. So with that being said, I cover reels 3 times a week. Subscribe for more fail females. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.